Hi, my name is Neelam Singh, and I'm a registered dietitian. Today, I would like to discuss or address the impact of sugar on heart health, a topic that is often overlooked. So the learning objective for today's session is to gain a thorough understanding of sugar, including the different types and sources of sugar, how much is considered too much, and the potential health concern associated with excessive sugar intake. We will also explore nutrient claims related to sugar, as well as the difference between natural and artificial sugar substitutes. In addition, we will discuss healthy alternatives to sugary foods and beverages and mastering the skill of reading and interpreting food labels and some of the practical tips for reducing sugar consumption. So let's start with what is sugar? Sugar is a kind of carbohydrate. There are three types of carbohydrates in our diet: sugar, starches, and fiber. Fiber is the structural part of the plant food that is not digested, though it provides bulk to food and make you feel fuller for a longer period of time. And sugar and starches, both of them are broken down during digestion to glucose to become a source of energy. And glucose is also the preferred source of energy for the brain. So, eating habits have the largest effect on how you boost or deplete your brain activity as well. So while glucose is the primary source of fuel for the brain, consuming a quick fix of sugar, such as sugary snack or soft drink, may not be an effective approach for sustaining energy levels. So what happens when you consume too much of simple or added sugar? Your blood sugar level spikes, causing your pancreas to secrete insulin. This triggers a cell throughout your body to extract excess glucose from your bloodstream and store it as fat for future use. As a result, the glucose available to your brain drops, leading to symptoms such as fogginess, weakness, or confusion, and even hypoglycemia in extreme cases. That's why you may feel a rush of energy when you eat a dessert, and then it's mostly followed by a crash of fatigue when that sudden burst of energy is depleted as the body works to bring blood sugar levels back to normal. And you can minimize or avoid blood sugar swings by consuming complex carbohydrate, which means including fibrous grains, cereals, legumes, fruits, and veggies. That releases glucose more slowly and steadily and provides sustained energy throughout the day. So while too little glucose can cause brain fatigue over a period of years, too much glucose can result in weight gain, hyperglycemia, or diabetes. So it's important to maintain a balanced and healthy diet to promote overall wellness. So let's move on to understand the types of sugar. There are generally two types of sugar in foods: naturally occurring sugar and added sugar. So naturally occurring sugars are found naturally in foods, such as fruits has fructose sugar, milk has lactose sugar. On the other hand, added sugar include any sugar or caloric sweeteners that are added to food or beverages during processing or preparation, such as putting sugar in your coffee or adding sugar to your cereals. So added sugar can also include natural sugar such as white sugar, brown sugar, honey, as well as other chemically manufactured sugars such as high fructose corn syrup. So let's see, explore or understand the difference between these type of sugar. So the sugar containing foods in their natural form, like whole fruit, tend to be highly nutritious, nutrient dense, has 5 to 10% sugar, 85% water, vitamins, and fiber. Another difference between natural sugars and artificial sweeteners or added sugars is how they are broken down in the body. For example, if you were to eat a banana, you would be getting fructose sugar along with fiber, vitamins, and minerals. Fiber slows down the breakdown of food and therefore slows down the absorption of sugar in the blood, which can provide more sustained release of energy. On the other hand, like refined, concentrated sugar or products, most often high in added sugar, also has additives, sweeteners, added fat kind of things added to them. So that provide calories but do not offer any nutritional value. In fact, when consumed in large amounts, it can rapidly increase blood glucose and insulin level, increases triglycerides, and thereby increasing the risk for diabetes and heart disease. And also, it is also important to note that just because a food contains natural sugar does not mean that it's necessarily healthy. For example, fruit juice and dried fruits contain natural sugar but can be high in calories and lack the fiber that whole fruit provide. So it's important to focus on whole, minimally processed foods and to be mindful about added sugar. So these are some of the common foods where you can find lots of sugar. So most of this sugar sweetened beverages, including fruit flavored drinks or candy, sweet baked goods, they are the major source of added sugar in the American diet. If you will see here, an 8-ounce fruit punch can contain as much as 13 grams of added sugar, or a can of regular soda is about 10 teaspoons of sugar. Or you can look for the candies. Also, a 1.5-ounce chocolate bar has around 21 grams of added sugar, which is almost equivalent to whole day worths of added sugar intake. Even a one snack size frosted chocolate cream filled cupcake may have 4 teaspoons of added sugar. So, I mean, if you will look onto these kind of food ingredients, they contain a lot of added sugar. Even dairy desserts, like a 2/3 cup of vanilla ice cream, could have like an 18 gram of added sugar. So try to include more healthy beverages like water, flavored water, or water flavored with cucumber slices. Try to include plain dairy products. You can have like yogurt with fruit, can have plain oatmeal kind of beverages. So try to skip all the sweetened breakfast cereals, flavored sweetened oatmeal or breakfast shake and cereal bars. It would be better that if you can have like a plain oatmeal or a plain dairy product without added sugar. So too much sugar isn't so sweet for your health. So this is one of the, line from American Heart Association. It's important to recognize that our bodies do not require added sugar to function optimally. In fact, excessive consumption of added sugar, which provide no essential nutrients but contribute to calorie intake, can lead to weight gain and obesity. In addition to obesity, it can increase triglycerides level, a risk factor for heart disease, and can also raise your risk for diabetes or metabolic disorder. Thereby, it's negatively impacting heart health. So it is recommended to view your daily calorie needs as a budget, where the majority of your calories should be allocated towards essential nutrients that fulfill your body's nutritional requirement. Discretionary calories should only be used for extras that provide little to no nutritional benefit, such as added sugar. So by prioritizing nutrient-dense food, we can maintain a balanced diet and support our overall health and well-being. So let's do talk about sugar substitute, because these are the common, substances or sugar substitute that we add to our food when we want to avoid a natural or added sugar. So generally there are two types of sugar substitutes: natural or low calorie, and or natural low calorie or artificial sweeteners. We also call them some of them non-nutritive sweeteners. So natural sweeteners are mostly low in calories found in plant and fruit, such as sugar alcohol, stevia, monk fruit, and artificial sweeteners do not contain any calories. They are chemically produced in labs and factories and are not found in nature. So there are 5 kind of sweeteners that are approved. We'll explore more in oncoming slides. So sugar substitute, most common are sugar alcohol. So sugar alcohols or polyols, they are type of carbohydrates. So just note, they are also a type of carbohydrates that are hybrid of sugar and alcohol molecules. So the name of some of the more popular ones are listed here, like sorbitol, mannitol, erythritol, kind of. They also appear as the main sweetener in low-calorie, sugar-free food products like diet drinks, sugar-free chewing gums, and many other foods and drinks. So some like erythritol and sorbitol occur naturally in fruits and veggies. However, most of the sugar alcohols that many company uses to sweeten food are produced industrially. So while some people think they are zero-calorie sweeteners, sugar alcohol are considered to be a low-calorie sweeteners and are about 25 to 100% as sweet as sugar, but do not have the same negative effects such as promoting tooth decay or raising blood sugar levels, because most of them are partially resistant to digestion and pass through our digestive system, very similar to fiber. It's mostly like feeding healthy bacteria in our gut, act as a prebiotic, which would be beneficial as well. So because it's act like a low digestible carb or fiber, so it increases blood glucose levels slowly. And but in case if you consume in excess, it can give you an unpleasant symptoms of diarrhea and bloating. But do note that sugar-free foods are not necessarily carb-free, so the food itself can raise the blood sugar level. Here you can see an example here, sugar alcohol 15 grams. So most of the time in flavored yogurt, chewing gum, you will find sugar alcohols. So another one, very common, everyone knows about stevia extract and monk fruit extract. So stevia is like a non-calorie natural sweetener. It does not provide any calorie. It's made from the leaves of shrub called stevia that grows in Central and South America. And the monk fruit also, we call them, generally it's sold as Go. It's made from crushed monk fruit. It was approved for use in US in 2010, but it has been used in China for centuries. It's about 100 to 250 times sweeter than sugar, and it's often used in combination with other non-nutritive sweeteners or sugar. They do not provide calories because they contain kind of like a glycosides, which are compound made up of sugars, but they are bound to some non-sugar substance. So these glycosides provide the sweet taste without adding calories because they are not digested the same way as traditional sugar. Also, additionally, some research suggests that they may contain some antioxidant. They may help reduce blood glucose level in people with diabetes. Although more research is needed to confirm this and determine the appropriate amounts to use for optimal blood glucose control, though FDA has considered them as GRAS, generally recognized as safe for use as non-nutritive sweeteners. And you can see here I have make a table where it says stevia is around 200 to 400 times sweeter than table sugar, and monk fruit is around 100 to 250 times sweeter than table sugar, and it is most often used in frozen desserts, yogurts, candies, or chewing gums. So the next is artificial sweeteners. So the FDA has approved these 5 artificial sweeteners: saccharin, acesulfame, aspartame, neotame, sucralose. Most of these are about 100 to 300 times sweeter than refined sugar, but sucralose is 600 times sweeter, and neotame is 700 to 13,000 times sweeter than refined table sugar. You can see the boxes here. One of the main purposes of developing artificial sweetener was to be able to essentially have you cake and eat it too, meaning most of us having sweet tooth and want to eat high calorie sweets but without gaining weight. However, there have been a concern that artificial sweeteners may be doing just the opposite by causing weight gain. So, as per some of the studies, they found that adults who consumed more artificial sweeteners had higher body mass index. One concern is that people who use artificial sweeteners may replace the lost calories through other sources, possibly offsetting weight loss or health benefits. For example, we like to think, I'm drinking diet soda, so it's okay to have cake. Another theory of why this may happen is that when you consume a food or beverage artificially sweetened, it actually may be increasing sugar cravings. Your body senses the intense sweetness, expecting calories when there are none. This causes the body to crave those calories, leading you to seek out food that do contain calories, leading to weight gain. So how the human body and brain respond to these sweeteners is very complex. Another theory is it is also possible that these products change the way we taste food. Non-nutritive sweeteners or artificial sweeteners are far more potent than table sugar and high fructose corn syrup. Tiny amounts produces a sweet taste comparable to that of sugar without comparable calories. So frequent use of hyper intense sweeteners can overstimulate sugar receptors, leading to a decreased tolerance for less sweet or complex food. This means that people who regularly consume artificial sweetener may find less intensely sweet foods such as fruits less appealing, and unsweet foods such as vegetable unpalatable. And if you see, all of the artificial sweeteners have an acceptable daily limit also. So though the studies leading to FDA approval have ruled out cancer risk for the most part, however, these studies were done using far smaller amount of diet soda than 24 ounces a day consumed by many people who drink diet soda. So we really don't know what effect large amount of these chemicals all have over many years. And there are other health concerns besides cancers. Some of the studies like multi-ethnic study of atherosclerosis found that daily consumption of diet drinks has associated with 36% greater risk for metabolic syndrome and 67% increased risk for type 2 diabetes. So this is somewhat surprising, as artificial sweeteners are often marketed as a way to help prevent these diseases. Another animal study suggested that artificial sweetener may be addictive. And if you say that you can give up diet drinks anywhere or anytime or whenever you want, this may not be the case. In studies of rats who were exposed to cocaine, then given a choice between intravenous cocaine and oral saccharin, most chose saccharin. So very surprising. So it's important to note that the relationship between non-nutritive sweeteners and these healthy outcomes is complex and not yet fully understood. Okay. So ultimately, more research is needed to fully understand the impact of artificial sweeteners on weight gain and overall health. It's important to remember that all foods, including those with artificial sweeteners, should be consumed in moderation as a part of balanced diet. As a precaution, pregnant women and children should use them much less frequently, as the long-term effects are unknown. And the use of artificial sweetener for decreasing calories and promoting weight loss may or may not benefit the user, as it is not clear if they are effective for preventing weight gain. And the intense sweetness is perceived by the body and could condition your taste buds to seek out high sugar food. So be aware on this if you find yourself craving like highly sweetened food. So it's very important, again, a balanced diet that include whole nutrient-dense food is still the best way, to go. So this is 2015-2020 dietary guidelines that suggest cutting consumption of added sugars to less than 10% of calories per day. And the American Heart Association recommends limiting added sugar to no more than 6% of calories each day. And for most American women, that's no more than 100 calories or 25 grams per day. So for men, it's 150 calories per day or about 9 teaspoons. And the American Heart Association generally recommends focus on all added sugar without singling out any particular type, such as high fructose corn syrup or etc. So it's very important to understand the nutrient claim as well. Product with sugar claim often contain other sugar substitute, low-calorie sweetener that we discussed just now. So this is how they contain less sugar, but it's very important to know what each or every term means. So sugar-free means one serving contains less than 0.5 gram of sugar, both natural and added. Also note that just because a product has a sugar content claim doesn't mean that it's good for you. For example, a sugary breakfast cereal can claim it has a reduced sugar, reduced from their reference product, but that could be still high for you, or that it's slightly sweetened, a meaningless, unregulated term. So the no added sugar or refined sugar-free claim usually means no refined or white sugar has been added during processing or packaging, but that product can still contain natural sugar or refined grains. So carbohydrates and sugar are often seen as being separate when in fact all sugars are carbohydrate. So if you can see an example, the cookies contain sugar-free, but that does not mean that they are free from carbohydrate or calories. Sugar-free and regular cookies contain almost the same amount of carbohydrate, which is 18 grams, and all carbohydrates turn into sugar and finally into glucose. No added sugar pineapple juice has no added sugar, but they do contain similar amount of carbs that a soft drink contains. With the hazelnut spread, by trading sugar for sweeteners like maltitol or erythritol, maltodextrin, and stevia, you get 2 teaspoons of sugar less per serve, but the total amount of carbohydrate content is same, which is 8.6 or 8.7 gram. So as we discussed that sugar alcohols or maltitol or erythritol, they contain carbohydrate, but since sugar alcohols are not digested the same way the regular sugar is, so they fall outside of 97% of less sugar claim. So kind of misleading, but they can absolutely do that. And this is also what has been done for the sugar-free cookies, but the sugar-free cookies also contain wheat flour, which isn't a carbohydrate-free. So this is important to understand since carbohydrate broken down to sugar, and therefore these products will have impact on blood glucose level. And so researchers also have found that they're surprised to find that some products with low nutrient claim actually had more of that nutrient than products without those claim. So you can look for whole nutrient density. Most commercial brands are not honest when it comes to stating the true nutritional content of their food product. All these claims of low calorie, sugar-free, fat-free are just a smart ways to attract the customers. Some of the time product might have less of one unhealthy nutrient like sugar, but too much of another like saturated fat. So meaning overall, it's not a better choice. So it's very important to be mindful when you buy products and reading very carefully the labels. So this is another example of Quaker oats with apple and cinnamon, which is regular oats and apple and cinnamon lower sugar. So they have a different amount of calories, 120 and 110, but if you pay closer attention, lower sugar packet is has a small size packet than a regular Quaker oats. Similar, you can see in peanut butter, no sugar added even has more even has more more calories. You can see the Naked Juice Green Machine, no sugar added, 100% juice smoothie drinks has total sugar 53 grams. So I read somewhere that Pepsi has filed a case that it contains more sugar than a regular soda drinks. But I'm not sure about that. I just read in newspaper somewhere. So this is like the nutrition facts information that's very important to know, reading the label to know how much added sugar is in foods and drinks. So to figure out if packaged food contains added sugar and how much, check the nutrition facts panel. Total sugar includes both added sugar and natural sugar. Added sugar are the ones that you want to limit. So check the serving info as well at the top of the label. If you eat more than one serving, you are getting more added sugar, calories, and other nutrients. And generally, label values are based on 2000 calories per day. So you may need less or more calories depending upon your age, activity level, or other factors. You can also use percentage daily value where 5% is low and 20% or high is high. Here you can see added sugar is 32%, which means that it's an excellent source of sugar. And it's also, good to know that there are 4 calories in 1 gram. So if a product has 17 grams of sugar per serving, that's 68 calories or over 4 teaspoons sugar just from the sugar alone, not counting the other ingredients like carbohydrate and all those. And if there is no nutrition facts panel, look at the list of ingredient list. Sugar has like many names. Most common sugar is high fructose corn sugar, but high fructose corn syrup isn't the only type of sugar contributing to our overall consumption. If you are sprinkling like a packet of white granules in your morning coffee, it's obvious that you are having some added sugar. But lots of food in our fridges and pantries have a sneaky portion under more discreet names. You may not even realize you are consuming it, like the ketchup on your fries, the bottle dressing on your salad, and all the natural fruit flavoring in your yogurt or instant oatmeal can all contain surprising amount of added sugar. And of course, the things that we like to drizzle on our food, like honey, maple syrup, agave, added sugar. So the ingredient has many different names. Here you will see in this uh, label that added sugar is generally added underneath the line for the ingredient list, and ingredients are listed in order for quantity in the product. So in this example, sugar is in the first ingredient, which sounds good, right? But added sugar are 4 of the 7 main ingredient, which is like not so sweet for your health. So added sugar are sneaky. They can go by names: agave, corn sweetener, dextrose sweetener, glucose, honey, maltodextrin, maltose, sucrose, anything with the word sugar or syrup. So it's very important to read the label and understand those. So these are some of the ways you can swap your sugar. You can, like when baking cookies, brownies, cakes, cut the sugar, call for your recipe by 1/3 to 1/2. Often you won't notice the difference. Switch out sugar with unsweetened applesauce in recipes, or you may need to adjust the amount of oil in the recipe to get the desired taste and texture. Alternatively, you can use no-calorie sweetener, low-calorie sweetener in moderation. You can also try using extract like almond, vanilla, or replacing it completely with ginger or spices. And instead of consuming desserts made with traditional sugar, consider enjoying natural sweetness of fruit. Fresh, frozen, canned, all are good option. You can make your own sauces and dressing. That's a great way to reduce your sugar intake and also control the other ingredients that go into them. So there are many recipes available online for homemade salad dressing, ketchups, tomato sauce, barbecue sauce that use natural ingredient and little to no added sugar. And you can also make your own trail mix with unsalted, lightly salted nuts and seeds. unsweetened dried fruit, rolled oats, whole grain cereal. They can be a healthy snack option without added sugar, and it can also be customized to your preference. So you can include your favorite ingredients. You can also cut back on added sugar to swap sugar sweetened beverages like soda, energy drinks, sweetened coffee, tea for plain or sparkling water. You can add flavor, try infusing the water with fresh herbs like mint, slices of citrus fruit. So these could be some simple and refreshing way to hydrate without all added sugar. And cutting back on sugars gradually can help your taste bud adjust to less sweetness over time. So to add flavor without adding sugar, try using natural flavors like cinnamon, citrus, mint, nutmeg. You can also experiment with herbs and spices. So the key point is sugar is a type of carbohydrate, provide glucose, sole source of energy for brain, and carbohydrates are broken down into complex carbohydrate, releases glucose more slowly and steadily, and provides sustainable energy throughout the day. Natural sugar refers to sugar that are naturally found in food, such as fruits and dairy products. And these food contains naturally containing sugars such as fructose, lactose, which are accompanied by vitamins, minerals, and fiber. And the body digests these natural sugar more slowly than added sugar, which can provide a more sustained release of energy. Added sugar, on the other hand, are sugar that are added to foods during processing or preparation. This can be white sugar, brown sugar, high fructose sugar, and these added sugar provide calories but do not offer any nutritional value. In fact, they can contribute to weight gain or other health problem if consumed in excess. And all these claims of low-calorie, sugar-free, fat-free are just a smart ways to attract customer without really caring about their well-being. This is why it's crucial to be mindful when you buy food products, reading very carefully the labels, or swapping the regular or added sugar with the natural food. And there are like natural sweeteners or sugar substitutes, which are natural and artificial. So natural sweeteners are like stevia, monk, sugar alcohols are mostly like low in calories, found in plant or fruit. Stevia and monk do not contain any calories. They are considered as non-nutritive sweeteners. Artificial sweeteners do not contain any calories as well. They are chemically processed, and it's still debatable whether we should use it or whether we should use it or the amount of artificial sweeteners. Generally, it's recommended that limiting the intake of added sugar, sugar alcohol, and non-nutritive sweeteners. And if you're trying to lose weight, a temporary fix to satisfying your sweet tooth may be with non-nutritive sweeteners, but watch out and make sure that swapping sugar option for non-nutritive sweeteners now doesn't lead to eating more later. So it's important to remember that all foods, including those with artificial sweeteners, should be consumed in moderation as part of balanced diet. And if you want to avoid them completely, read the ingredient labels on food and research what type of food products they may be added to. So sweet foods are an experience in life, so enjoy them and be mindful so that you stay satisfied longer and can appreciate them more. And still, a balanced diet with whole nutrient-dense food is still the best way to go. So that's all. Thank you all for listening to me. And if you have any questions and concern, please don't hesitate to reach out to me via email. Thank you again.